Tadparam Paryaya Vidmahi Jnanalingeshwaraya Dhimahi Tanno Guru Prachodayate Om Yoga Maharshi Dr. Swami Geetananda Giri Guru Maharaj Ki Jai. Namaste, Vanakkam, Swagatam. Welcome to yet another scintillating Saturday morning here from Pondicherry, India. 42 weeks we have been keeping this going, and we hope to keep it going as long as we can. The joy of sharing is a manifestation of heartfelt caring. The more we share, the more we care. The more we care, the more we share. We have been looking at so many different topics over the last few months. And I think a very important topic in the present scenario is of relaxation, especially relaxation that is offered by yoga, and how this enables us to induce what is known as the relaxation response. The term relaxation response, was first popularized by Herbert Benson at Harvard, who has the Benson Henry Institute in Massachusetts, and his very popular book on the relaxation response in the early 1970s. So the relaxation response term is basically as old as I am. But way before that, in around 1920s, you had Walter Cannon, who popularized the term stress response. And then Hans Sylvie and others did immense work in understanding what the stress response was all about. But imagine, we first found out about stress, and then it took another 5 decades before the concept of relaxation came into us. So you can tell us, tell about the priority we human beings have. When we talk about the relaxation response, we are talking about something where there is an element of choice. Of course, my own perspective is the stress response has choice, the stress reaction doesn't. And if you look at these two, the stress response and the relaxation response, they are basically mirror images of the same thing. And this is where the traditional concept of the polar opposites. In Indian culture, you have the concept of Shiva and Shakti. You have the concept of day and night, Purusha and Prakriti. And this concept that there are the equal and opposite forces in nature. Equal and opposite forces of nature that are constantly seeking balance. So if we are able to take a step back, we realize the whole universe is essentially bipolar and seeking balance. So we as individuals, remember, we are the ocean in a drop. We are the universe in an individual. An individual is someone who cannot be divided any further. Indivisible is the individual. So we are having the whole universe within us. So if the universe is bipolar and trying to find balance, no prizes for guessing the answer. Yes, we are also essentially bipolar, trying to find balance. So the balance lies between the stress response and the relaxation response. In yoga, one of the yoga margas is Hatha Yoga. And the Hatha Yoga teachings are based on the balancing of these same equal and opposite energies, Ha and Ta. Ha representing the solar energies and Ta representing the lunar energies, the sun and the moon energies. We are attempting to balance in Hatha Yoga. So Hatha Yoga is a physical science of balancing the equal and opposite energies of the universe that are manifesting through us. Now these bipolar energies manifest in our nervous system. So if you look at our brain, yes, that thing that lies between your two ears, and we rarely use. Swamiji used to often joke about Albert Einstein having only used 8% of his brain, or was it 6? And so he would go on, this genius of the age, Albert Einstein, only used 6% of his brain. How much do you think you are using? And all the students in the class would be trying to calculate on the fingers. And then very powerfully Swamiji would say, and I will give you the answer. None. For most of the stuff we do in our day-to-day life, the spinal cord and the brain stem, a little bit of the limbic system is more than enough. So compared to the capacity we have in our nervous system, what we are using is so small it is as good as zero. In any number next to infinity is zero. In that brain we have two parts, the right and the left. The right and the left brain are giving us an opportunity again to balance. The left brain is always about stress. It is always trying to calculate, what can I get? How many people will like this video today? If I put it on YouTube, can I monetize it? By having people watch infinite advertisements? No thanks. Totally calculating, logical, analytical, always trying to find out what you can get. And the more you are focused on what you can get, which is left brain activity, the more stressed you become, because you are so focused on the outcome. Everybody loves this word outcome. Outcome measures. How do you measure the teaching, learning outcomes? They brought it into education also. Stereotype and put everything in a box until there's no life in it. The left brain is very, very busy putting everything in boxes. It is constantly trying to get, analyze, balance the sheet. And so we are constantly in stress. Now if you look at the right brain, it is the part that says, why are you worried about getting? Be more concerned about giving. The left brain says, nobody understands me. I am always misunderstood. The right brain says, try to be more understanding. The right brain is more concerned about the process rather than the outcome. Now the outcome of life is death. Outcome of life is death. Why are you in a hurry to get there? Enjoy the process of life. That is what life's all about. Every moment, mindfulness, heartfulness, that is what life's about. And the right brain teaches us that. No prizes for guessing. The right brain has more of the feminine qualities, the left brain more of the masculine qualities. Now I know people don't like this because everybody should be the same now. Come on, men being men and women being women, that is the joy of life. We should celebrate the qualities of femininity in women, the qualities of masculinity in men. We should celebrate it. Because then you have the ha and the ta, they can be the dance of the energies. But we want everything to be dull, drab, uninteresting. Bore people to death. So the left brain is a lot of do. And yes, Soundarajan, abhyasa, the doing part. And the right brain is more about the being part. Be. The vairagya. Let go. It doesn't matter. The right brain says. The left brain says, it matters that I have to get it done now. Type A personality, left brain. Type B personality, right brain. See, these are the things that are inbuilt into our system, so that as a living human being, we are being given an opportunity to seek balance and work towards it. As a human being, we have an opportunity to seek balance and work towards it. Now this comes down into the rest of the nervous system, and so the left brain is connected to the sympathetic nervous system and the right brain to the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is all about survival. All that matters to the sympathetic nervous system is that you are still alive at the end of the day. Full stop. That is the only mission, vision statement of the sympathetic nervous system, is survival at any cost, and you be alive at the end of the day. Survival mechanism driven sympathetic nervous system. And the hypothalamo-pituitary adrenal axis goes into that. The hypothalamo-sympathetic medulla axis also goes into that. The parasympathetic nervous system is more about living, being in the moment, living life in a sense of fullness, wholesomeness, completeness, purnam. And this is why the sympathetic nervous system is as if you have your nose glued to the problem. And so you are so stressed out. Because the problem is so big, you see nothing but the problem. You take your hand and put it in front of your face. You see nothing but your hand, okay? My hand, oh my God, look at it. And you get all stressed out. Now the moment you take your hand away, the farther away you move it, or you move back, suddenly you say, oh my God, it's just a hand. I thought it was so big. See, this is where taking a step back, Vairagya, right brain, parasympathetic, enables you to see the bigger picture, and suddenly you start to relax. When you are focused on the problem and its nitty-gritty, you will be stressed. When you take a step back and look at your problem in the context of the bigger issue, when you take a step back and look at others' lives, see what is happening in the world, and then try to understand what's happening in the whole universe, suddenly your problem, which seemed like a mountain, becomes a molehill. So the stress response makes a mountain out of a molehill. A molehill becomes a mountain, stress response. And the relaxation response is making the mountain into a molehill. Because of change in perspective. You expand your perspective. That is why it is said, the more you grow, the more mature you become. The more you have life experiences, the more you can see what's happening. You see the woods. You see the woods rather than focus on the tree. Missing the woods for the trees, a common statement that you find. So you have the stress response, which is based on survival, and the relaxation response, which is based on living. So survival mode, stress; living mode, relaxation. You see, when you have the stress response, the body is put into its maximum capacity to fight the enemy, to fight the stressor, to fight that which is threatening your existence. At the root of the stress response is the feeling of threat. Now that threat may be actual threat, but it could also be a perceived threat. So pramana, which is cognition, one of the chitta vrittis, you could perceive the threat and understand it, and then you are stressed and the stress response comes in, and you either fight the threat or you run away from there. Fight or flight. But then there is a lot of viparyaya, which is misconception. And so we are most of the time in our day-to-day life reacting to perceived threats that are false. You know, people have this thing that someone's talking to someone else and they think they're talking about them. Someone is turning around and you think they're looking at me. Someone says something on Facebook and you say, oh my God, they're commenting on me. Someone gives an example in class and, oh my God, that person is commenting on me. They mean me. Most probably those people didn't even know you existed. It is the ego that has so much self-importance, thinks that everybody is thinking about you, everybody is talking about you, everybody is commenting on you. No, nobody even cares that you exist. Lesson in humility. But because of this bloated ego, I'm so important, everybody must be talking about me. Anybody who says anything, it must be related to me. Anybody who does anything, it must be related to me. And so what is happening is, you are constantly being driven into the stress response by a false sense of perceived threat. It's not even a real threat. See, a lion or tiger is chasing you, it is a real threat. Run away or fight or climb a tree if you can. Good. There's no lion. There's no tiger. And you are always running because you think there's a lion, tiger chasing you. My father used to say, in the days when we lived in the cave, you came out in the morning, there was a saber-toothed tiger standing there. You had two choices, one, fight it or run away. Of course, the third one is you become its breakfast. And then there's no stress. You don't exist, so no stress exists. The psychological response called freeze works for that. So that you get eaten by the saber-toothed tiger, but there's no pain because you have just gone into freeze. Now it is fine. There's a saber-toothed tiger. You get stressed. It is life-threatening. Absolutely fine. But nowadays there are no saber-toothed tigers. They are long extinct. They don't exist. But you know what? We are reacting to everyone and everything. We are reacting as if we are living with a bunch of saber-toothed tigers. You get out of bed and you think your partner is a saber-toothed tiger. Well, sometimes you get into bed and think they're a saber-toothed tiger. You go to work, your boss is a saber-toothed tiger, and if you are the boss, your subordinates are saber-toothed tigers. You go to school, if you are a student, you think your teachers are saber-toothed tigers. If you are a teacher, you think your students are little saber-toothed tigers sitting there, ready to eat you up. On the highway, everybody in the car is a saber-toothed tiger. Everywhere you look, there are saber-toothed tigers. So what is happening? We are constantly going into the stress response again and again and again and again and again. And so we are nagged. Again and again is nagging. Again, nagging. We get nagged by the stress response. We are being nagged by the stress response. And what is happening? The stress response is catabolic. It burns up all your resources. Because in stress, it is a heightened sense of awareness and exaggerated response to the external or internal stimuli, and all your resources are mobilized and you say, it's an emergency, get everything here. And what happens? You keep on using it and you start burning it out. Now, till you have sufficient resources, you manage it, is called the stage of resistance. But in that you are building up what is called allostasis. It is the altered homeostasis. Homeostasis tries to keep everything normal. Allostasis is trying to keep everything normal when things are not normal. And the allostatic load becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and you start to carry this huge elephant on your head. Imagine walking around with a huge elephant. At one point you collapse. And it's at that point that all the stress disorders come in. That stage of exhaustion. Now yoga says, you're not here just for survival. You are here to live. You are here to live as a human being should. And when can you be your best? When you are relaxed. When you are relaxed, you are conserving energy. When you are relaxed, your whole mechanisms have become more efficient. Your breathing will be efficient because it's slow and deep. Rapid breathing is not efficient. It's okay for survival, but not efficiency. Slow deep breathing is efficient. A slow, regularly irregular heart rate variability is an indication of a healthy sympathovagal tone, a balance between the sympathetic and the vagus. Your heart rate has slowed down, so your heart has enough time to receive the blood from the body and then pump it out efficiently. When your heart rate is fast, you are not able to get enough blood and you are pumping, so you are doing more but with less. Whereas when your heart rate slows down, you can do less but with more. This is why the relaxation response is such a key element of manifesting the best you, the most efficient version of you. Because efficiency depends on an inner sense of relaxation. So what happens is that the same pathway, remember I said they are mirror images? The same pathway is used in both. You have the hypothalamus in the center of your brain. Below that you have the pituitary gland, the hypophysis. So the hypothalamo-pituitary axis, it is constantly engaged in trying to find balance and trying to find that balance within. So the hypothalamus and pituitary are constantly saying, what can we do for this person? How can we help them? What can we do? Do we need more of this or less of that? And okay, pump a bit more, no, pump a bit less. There's this constant interaction, hypothalamus-pituitary interaction going on. The pituitary is the conductor of the endocrine orchestra. So then what does it do? Once it has had a discussion with the hypothalamus, its boss, the big boss, it starts to then regulate what is happening in the lower aspects of the endocrine system, especially the adrenal glands. So the adrenal function, which is the seed function of the stress reaction, adrenaline, noradrenaline, cortisol, all these stress hormones, adrenaline, noradrenaline are the acute stage stress hormones. Cortisol is for more a chronic stage stress hormone. They are regulated. Adrenaline, noradrenaline and cortisol are regulated by what is happening from the hypothalamus. So the hypothalamus to the pituitary, to the adrenal cortex, cortisol, and the hypothalamus to the autonomic nervous system and the sympathetic limb to the adrenal medulla, adrenaline. The swift response through adrenaline and the slow response through cortisol. So the same mechanism, you can turn it upside down. Stand on your head, walk on your feet. Swamiji's statement in the yoga step by step. You are turning it upside down. What are you saying? Instead of having panic mode, anxiety mode, instead of having the hypothalamus telling the pituitary, oh my God, we are in trouble. And who tells the hypothalamus that? Your limbic system. Because the hypothalamus is surrounded by the limbic system that is constantly saying, oh my God, he said that, I don't feel good, I don't feel good. And the poor hypothalamus is like surrounded by all this. It's like, pituitary, squirt something. And pituitary, squirt. It's called psycho-neuroendocrinology. How our thoughts and emotions affect the hypothalamus, which is part of the nervous system, affects the pituitary, and then below that the adrenals, which are part of the endocrine system. Psycho-neuroendocrinology. It also affects the immune system, so they call it PNI, psycho-neuroimmunology. So what does yoga say? You can change this. You can use the same pathway. Just as a knife can be used to kill someone, but it can also be used in the hand of a skilled surgeon to save a life. The same knife, the tool is the same, but in the wrong hands can kill someone, in the right hands can save someone. The same thing with the pathway, your hypothalamus-pituitary adrenal pathway, the psycho-neuroendocrine pathway, it can either kill you, that is the knife killing you, or it can save you, and that is the relaxation part, make you, come alive with anabolic activities. So, once it comes into the hypothalamus and comes down into the pituitary and adrenal, it becomes a bit difficult to deal with it. It's like the horse has bolted. The snowball has already become an avalanche and you are being buried in it. And this is where yoga says, change your pattern of thinking. The original CBT. My dear Sadhbir Khalsa from Harvard was talking yesterday about a new study they did on comparing yoga with CBT. It's a beautiful study, and I'm so happy to see these type of studies coming up. Yoga says, don't wait until it gets down to the adrenal gland. Don't wait until your bloodstream is filled with adrenaline. It says, get to the root source. And the root source is how your thoughts and emotions affect your hypothalamus. So, negative thoughts and emotions affect the hypothalamus negatively. Stress response. Positive thoughts, positive emotions, they start to influence the hypothalamus positively, educing the relaxation response. So the change is not in the pathway is the same, but the change is in how you perceive things. What is the attitude you take towards it? And this is why the power of the mind, the human mind, is the most powerful tool we have. The mind has the powerful tool. When it goes on to the negativities, it causes negative responses. When it goes into positivities, it brings about a positive response. Now, I am not talking about this modern tendency to be positive about everything, which then becomes what is called toxic positivity. And it becomes another type of escapism for people. I'm not talking about that. In yoga, we are talking about balance. And this is where the concept of Pratipaksha Bhavanam, adopting the contrary perspective and more expanded perspective, so that instead of the stress response, you are educing the relaxation response. Through Pratipaksha Bhavanam, through clarity of mind, Maharishi Patanjali gives us the Chatur Bhavana, which are often called Brahma Vihara in the Buddhist tradition. Maitri Karuna Mudito Pekshanam Sukadukka Punya Punya Vishayanam Bhavanataha Chitta Prasadanam. And he tells us, how can you also deal with this? One is change your attitude. Know what is the attitude to be chosen towards the respective person, place, thing and event. Make a choice, that power of choice, the superpower of being human. Yay, Superman here. Thanks, Tejasvi, for organizing this, along with Lalita, for my birthday. Should write a book, The Yogi with the Superman t-shirt. And now that I'm a yogi, the aspiring yogi in a Superman t-shirt. That would be a nice one. Hey, up, up and away. Huh? See, whether you are going to get stressed, whether you are going to be relaxed, depends on what happens up here. Because the moment you change your attitude, the moment you say, I will choose the attitude, not the limbic system. So the prefrontal cortex is coming into play. It says, you guy down there, keep quiet. I am the boss here. I will choose what attitude I will take towards this place, person, thing or event. There is a negative thing happening. You say, okay, fine. What is the bigger perspective? What is the other perspective that is there? What is the other side to this? And the moment you start to expand your consciousness, you start to see the solution rather than the problem. As long as your nose is down in the swamp, you only see the problem. When you come up, that eagle eye perspective, when your drone of consciousness goes up to the satellite level, suddenly you see the bigger perspective. All the dots come together. You see what is happening and you can respond rather than react. You start to go into a relaxation response rather than the stress response. So the whole perspective. See, people think the relaxation response is something you do in a yoga class. Okay, you lie down you lie down and you start to have visual imagery and you deep breathe and you go into relaxation. Okay, fine. That's good. Yoga on the mat. But more important is yoga off the mat. In life, someone is being nasty to you. The survival instinct says, go into stress mode. Can you at that time take a step back, vairagya, right brain, parasympathetic, and say, why are they nasty to me? What lies behind it? What is their story? You start to become more understanding. Rather than say, that person doesn't understand me and they are so nasty to me, you start to try to understand the other side. Pratipaksha Bhavanam. Immediately what happens? You start to say, okay, fine, this person is just living in hell. And what can I do about it? Take a step back. Because the more you react to them, the more you are pulled into their hell. And then both of you are in hell together. Happy hell day. happy hell day. That's a good one. Huh? Burn for eternity together. No, you want to come out of it. Heaven and hell are choices we make in the present moment, not someplace you go. This power of choice is what makes the difference. See, now in the yoga session, you learn to use it. You start to do guided relaxation, progressive muscular relaxation. You start to relax from the toes to the head in Marmanasthanam Kriya. You do Kaya Kriya where you are doing it with the breathing, the lower, mid and upper parts of the lungs. You are moving and there's a dynamic shift, creating a dynamic bodily relaxation. You can do the Yoga Nidra. You can do these practices in class. What are you doing? You are training yourself to shift from survival mode into relaxation mode, living mode. Survival stress mode, relaxed living mode. And this is what you are training yourself. And the most important tool in all of this, across cultures, across traditions, the most important tool to educe the relaxation response what do you think it is? Well, no prizes for guessing. It is the breath. The breath. Yes, Terry. The breath is the key. When you mindfully shift the pattern of breathing, you shift from survival mode to living mode, life mode. Let's call it survival mode to life mode. And yes, Valananda, Rachana, Terry, yes, pranayama and the breath. This is where the most important aspect is working with the breath. Because what is the breath? The breath is one of the few windows we have in autonomic function that can be manipulated by choice. It is very tough for you to manipulate your heart rate. Heart go slow, heart go fast. It stopped listening to you long ago in kindergarten. It said, oh my God, this person, no, don't listen to them. You cannot tell your digestive system, digest better, digest less. All those autonomic activities are out of our purview. It's like the kid in the kitchen and the parent has kept everything above their reach to keep them out of trouble. Autonomic function is keeping things out of trouble for us children. But the divine, the universe, God, has been so kind, benevolent to us that a window has been given, a window of opportunity through which we can access the unconscious, subconscious, autonomic, automatic activity by focusing mindfulness. Normally, the whole respiratory process is governed at the back of the head, the brainstem, the respiratory center. And it is taking care of you breathing all the time. That is survival mode. Your survival center, the physical correlate, please note the choice of words I make. The physical correlate of Abhinivesha Klesha, the desire to survive at any cost, clinging to life, is the brainstem. So the brainstem is keeping you alive by making you breathe and keeping your breathing going. Now suddenly what do you say? You say, I'm going to shift the control from the back of the head to the front of the head. I am going to go from automatic breathing to mindful choice-based breathing. So the moment you shift the pattern of breathing. You have taken the power away from the brain stem, the old kid on the block, the big bully. You have taken the power away and given it to the prefrontal cortex, the seat of consciousness, the seat of buddhi. The moment you say, I will choose how long I want to breathe, how many times I want to breathe, how deep I want to breathe, whether I want to hold my breath or not, the respiratory center doesn't want you holding the breath at all. Because it's like if you hold your breath, you may die. That's its panic attack. This part says, I can hold my breath and nothing will happen. And this is where the emphasis on slowing down the breath, making it deep, learning to utilize each and every part of the lungs, starting to expand our awareness of the life force prana that we can access through this breathing process. And also starting to say, I will hold the breath in, I will hold the breath out. I will breathe through the right nostril when I want. I will breathe through the left nostril when I want. Left nostril, right brain, right nostril, left brain. I will choose how I'm going to breathe. I am not letting my autonomy be taken over by the brainstem. I am regaining my autonomy. One of the most important principles in medicine and medical ethics is autonomy of the individual. You have to respect the autonomy of the individual. Now your brainstem has grabbed it away. Your brainstem has grabbed it away. And now by focusing here, the moment you change, you have made a quantum leap of consciousness from the subconscious, unconscious, survival mechanism driven stress response to now the life enhancing, choice based relaxation response. And that is why changing the pattern of breathing. And this is why to me, from this perspective, it doesn't matter what pranayama you are doing or what tradition of pranayama you are following. Because the moment you start to mindfully breathe, automatically you have started to induce the relaxation response. So it doesn't matter actually what you're doing because that shift has already occurred. Now some pranayamas, especially the slow deep breathing, will be more relaxing compared to say the Bhastrika, Kapalbhati and others. The left nostril will be more relaxing than the right. Again, there will be minor subdivisional differences. But in general, any form of pranayama of any tradition will automatically shift you from the back of the brain to the front of the brain. It has already enabled that shift to happen. Now, along this, another very core component of relaxation is using sound. And when you start to use nada, when you start to use the sound, be it the Brahmari with the B sound, or be it the Pranava, this is further relaxing you. Because what does sound do? It harmonizes you. Sound is harmonizing. Sound is the vibration that brings everything into balance. The amazing use of nada. When we do the pranava, it's amazingly relaxing. Even if you are sitting and doing it, it's relaxing. If you lie down and do pranava, it's also relaxing. Because then you have the benefit of lying down, plus the benefit of the nada, plus the benefit of the pranayama. You know, what you do is you keep on adding to it. It's like the topping on your pizza. You have the base and then you keep adding the topping. That is the variety, the spice of life that is brought in. But primarily, the moment you shift from automatic breathing to choice-based mindful breathing, you have already shifted from the stress to the relaxation response. So one is the change in attitude, expanding the perspective, changing the breath. And then there is a very important part in the relaxation response is, what is the core of Bhakti Yoga, Ishvara Pranidhana, is the capacity to give over to something higher. Have trust that there is something higher than us. And in that moment of giving over, we actually let go. And in that moment of letting go, many of the problems and the stresses are solved. And you go into a state of relaxation. A sahaja, a spontaneous state of relaxation occurs. And this is why it doesn't matter what religion is used. It doesn't matter what object of focus is used. If you want to say, okay, I'm going to give over to God, fine. If you say that God is Allah, Jesus, Ganesha, Shiva, that's fine. Or you find it in a human personality who you trust and you say, I give over to my guru, fine. That process of giving over is what matters. To what you give over doesn't really matter again. Because it is your choice. It is the personalized version. It is the giving over, the Sharanagati, that is so important. Now this morning as I was cycling, I was thinking about the word relaxation. And suddenly it hit me. The core of the word relaxation is to become lax, to let go. It is to become lax, to let go. But if you look at it, it has the prefix re, R-E. So what does that actually imply? It implies that at one time we have been relaxed and then we have lost it. We have had that state of relaxation, that laxity, nishpanda, and we have lost it. So relaxation is enabling us to regain that state of balance that we have lost. And this is why through the relaxation response that is educed by the yoga practices, the yoga philosophy, the yoga psychology and the yoga spirituality, what is being done is that you are regaining lost balance. You are regaining that lost balance. And how important that is. How vital that is. Because life is all about balance, as I started off. The opposing forces are constantly trying to find balance. And you who were balanced and have lost it are regaining it once again. You are reclaiming your heritage. You are reclaiming your birthright. You are reclaiming your natural state of being relaxed. Spanda is the contraction. Nishpanda is the relaxation. Every breath, the inhalation is a spanda. Exhalation is a nishpanda. When we are born on the first breath of life, we have the first inhalation, all the stress starts. Last breath of life, you exhale, you breathe out, and all the stress is let go. Now, the start of life is stress, the end of life is relaxation. Every breath is a mini lifetime. Every time you breathe in, the stress is coming into you. Your heart rate goes up. When you breathe in, your heart rate becomes faster. And when you breathe out, your heart rate becomes slower. Because the inhalation is saying, oh my God, I'm being born again and all the stress I have to face. And the exhalation is saying, this is the chance to go back. See, it is only when the drop is alone that it has to worry about the stress. When the drop merges back into the ocean, it doesn't have to worry about the stress anymore. Nilachal has asked, is there any role of pineal gland? See, modern science till now has only come up to the hypothalamus and a bit of the, as I said, the limbic system, the thoughts and emotions. But yoga says even beyond that is the pineal. Because the pineal gland is our cosmic receptor. That is why the Sahasrara, the seventh of the chakras, that cranial luminosity, is connected to the cosmos and connected to the pineal. So definitely there will be a play. And till now, modern science's understanding of the pineal is more with melatonin and the sleep-wake cycle. But even if you look at the sleep-wake cycle, when you wake up, stress starts. When you go to sleep, there's no stress. So even the fact that you have good sleep and you are able to relax and rebuild, the pineal plays a role. So I'm sure there is a role at another level. As of now, we would say by maintaining your circadian rhythm, your sleep-wake cycle, enabling you to have a harmony with the external world. Your internal world has a harmony with the external world. The pineal is very important. The light comes on and the melatonin stops and you're in the wake part of the cycle. The lights go off, melatonin starts, you go into the sleep part of the cycle. So the sleep-wake cycle regulation by the pineal and melatonin, and the importance of sleep as an excellent recuperator, rebuilder, anabolic effect of sleep, which is why most of us today are sleep deprived. And sleep deprivation will aggravate the stress response. And this is where when you relax in yoga, it is said that 15 minutes of deep relaxation, I'm not saying just lying down, deep relaxation, 15 minutes is equivalent to what you would get from 4 hours of sleep. So in 4 hours of sleep, the type of anabolic activity and recuperation, rest, relax that you would get, you can get the same quantity or basically let's say the same qualitative experience by 15 minutes of deep relaxation. Be it what we call the Marmanastanam Kriya, be it Yoga Nidra. What you are doing is you are trying to go into a very deep state of relaxation. And in that deep state of relaxation, the benefits you would get from normal sleep of 4 hours, you would get it in that 15 minutes if it is deep. And this is why I think in yoga sessions, many people, they skip the Shavasana at the end. They skip the relaxation thinking, I'll teach them 5 more asanas in that time. And often people who have become consumers rather than students, they demand, why waste 15 minutes out of an hour for relaxation? Instead of that, you give me 5 more asanas for my money I have paid you. And that's against stress. So I think it is so important for us to keep the relaxation in the yoga session. A 1 hour session, minimum of 15 minutes of relaxation. A 1.5 hour session, 20 to 25 minutes you could have for deep relaxation. And if it's a shorter session, half an hour, 40 minutes, at least 10 minutes of relaxation should be part of it. Yoga sessions without relaxation, to me, they will actually take you more onto the sympathetic response side, the stress response side rather than relaxation. And then you will have people, they say, I'm doing yoga, but I'm so stressed out. Well, the question is to be asked, have you ever tried to do some relaxation also in your yoga sessions? I think this is a good place to stop today. We stop here today and we continue next Saturday with whatever topic comes up. Keep sharing topics you want and we'll take this as far as we can. I also welcome you at 10 a.m. to the global yoga prayer, the Vishwa Yoga Prarthana, which we have restarted yesterday, and hoping that we can all come together and create a beautiful sense of protective energy for humanity. When one part of the world suffers, is going to affect the whole world. So it doesn't matter whether it's India, Asia, Australia, America, North, South. It doesn't matter actually. We are all in this together. We are all in the same boat, and if the boat has a hole, all of us are going to sink. So let's all come together. Let's all put our hearts together, our minds together. Let's come together in that oneness of yoga. And when we do that, we will definitely be able to help ourselves be stronger, more relaxed. And when we are stronger and more relaxed, a better version of ourselves, we can help others. Namaste, Dhanyavadaha. Thank you. Nandri.